Sometimes all we have left of someone is a photograph, a few mementos, or their handwriting. In this old recipe book, I have the handwriting of my grandmother, who I never met. She died a few years before I was born. I hear that she was an amazing person, full of love and laughter, and a great cook. To this day, her shortbread recipe is famous in my family. It's known as the best shortbread recipe. So I'm going to be cooking that today and thinking of her. I can show you her handwriting close up. The interesting thing about this recipe is there's very scant instructions. We can see there's half a pound of butter, half a cup of icing sugar, 1 1/4 cups flour, 1 1/4 cups flour. So maybe that means self-raising, I don't know, and a pinch of baking powder. I'm just not exactly sure on the ingredients. We're going to make a guess at the temperature of the oven too. I don't know, maybe 190 degrees today. And we won't be getting these biscuits to go golden brown at all. Just maybe cook them for about 10-12 minutes and see what happens. But I love this, look, we've got old butter stains on here. There's my grandmother's handwriting. Actually matches the handwriting down here, so I think she's written this recipe as well. I'm looking forward to making those. I've never made those before. The rest of the handwriting on this page is my mum's. It's so special to have. Right, first thing I need to do is turn the oven on and have that heating up while I figure out the ingredients and get the mixing going. So I'm thinking about 190 degrees Celsius. I'm going to put it on normal bake, not fan bake, because they didn't cook using fan bake back in the day. Right, before I start mixing, I want to prepare my tins. Normally you would bake biscuits on a baking tray. I don't have a baking tray. I didn't get one with my oven. So I've got a couple of tins that I'm going to line with baking paper, and yeah, let's do that now. So I've got some old butter that I'm going to use to stick down the baking paper. So let's go over here. Probably what a lot of people don't think about is that the paper that your butter comes in is actually really good for lining baking trays as well. But today I've ripped off a piece. I'm going to pinch some butter, and this is going to be my glue for putting down my baking paper. It's almost like a painting, isn't it? You can see where the butter marks are. It's quite fun. And that's just going to stop the biscuits from sticking to the baking trays. Right, prep done. Let's go start the mixing of the mixture. I'll put this butter away. Baking comes with a lot of implied knowledge, so it said half a pound of butter. My understanding is that in New Zealand, when you buy butter like this is actually roughly a pound of butter, even though the measurements on the side are in 50-gram increments. So I'm just going to trust in that, and I'm going to use half of this today. That's a lot of butter, by the way. So yeah, that's roughly half. I want this butter to be a little soft because I think I'll cream the butter and the icing sugar. So what I'm going to do is, because I'm not very well prepared, this butter is not soft, I'm going to cut it into little squares and microwave it for a little minute. not a minute exactly, but for a little while. So let's pop it in this bowl here. It's not too bad in terms of softness, but it will not whip up easily. Does everyone do this? I don't know. Do you do this at home? Do you soften your butter in this way, or are you super prepared and you get your butter out the morning of and have it sitting out at room temperature, getting soft on its lonesome? Not that prepared, sorry. Also, does butter look like this in your country? Sort of that colour. I'm a bit weirded out by American cheese because that's always orange and I don't really understand. My understanding is that butter and cheese should be kind of like this colour. Right, washing hands. That's what half a pound of butter probably is. Let's hope so. Right, let's see if it's soft. I put it on for 30 seconds. Oh yeah, look at that. That's soft, that'll whip up nicely. Great, I'm excited. Let's do this. So I'll need a spatula to scoop it into the bowl. I'm going to mix this in the mixer today. Right, that's on. You know this recipe is going to be good because it's got lots of butter, right? Butter makes everything taste wonderful. Right, back to the recipe. Let's have a look. Half a cup of icing sugar on it. Okay, there should be half a cup in here. What do you reckon? Half cup? Ooh, okay, that was a bit fast. Oh, amazing. That's exactly what I needed. Right, this is actually normally how I measure out flour. Level it off with a knife. Right, 1.5 cups. What is my mixture going to be like after 1.5 cups? Or do I actually need double this? Alright, what do we think? Yeah, that's quite soft. I think it would need firming up. So I'm going to add the other 1.5 cups of flour and a pinch of baking powder. The thing I'm not sure about is whether I use self-raising flour or plain flour. They don't really want to rise much, but maybe I use self-raising flour. Let's try self-raising flour. Okay, quite happy with how this is looking. So when I squeeze the crumbs together, they form a ball. So that's a good sign. Now what's not written in the recipe is that the next step is to roll this into a log. And once that's firm, we're going to slice the biscuits off the log. So let's do that. All I'm really happy with the log formation. Look at that. Okay, next steps. I'm going to put this in the freezer for a little minute because I just want it to be firm when I go to slice the biscuits off. Quite a long time ago, my mum tasked me with typing up our family recipes, which I thought was a really cool idea because not many young people can read old handwriting. And I thought it would also be helpful to put how-to notes that are missing from here. You know, some of these recipes, like the shortbread one I'm making today, only has the ingredients. It doesn't tell you how to bake it, what temperature to bake it at. I did give it a go, and I've painstakingly photographed the recipe book, typed out the recipes, but I wasn't happy with the way the photographs looked. I was trimming the pages in half so that they could fit alongside the typewritten recipes. It just wasn't looking good. So recently I had the idea to trace the handwriting. So I'm doing that now in the iPad. So I use the iPad to take a photograph of a recipe, and I'm able to trace over my own grandmother's handwriting, which is pretty surreal. Let's see if I can rewrite this sugar in my grandmother's handwriting. Yep. And black. So that's how it's shaping up. This handwriting is so special to have. I'll keep working on it, and yeah, looking forward to seeing what I make with this. But I'm going to be preserving the handwriting as it is, and the memories of the people that made these amazing recipes, and yeah, maybe make something with them. Really delicious, a little bit dry. I think I put too much flour in them, but I'm going to try again. Totally worth it, but yeah, with a cup of tea, these will be mint.